Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Everybody's here, and hopefully you're having a good Monday, the start of the week. And boy, lots of things here exploded in the news world here today. And one of those things, obviously, and it's like right now it's still the top fucking headline since this morning, is the president, Joe Biden, had pardoned his son, Hunter, and MAGA is hopping mad about it. And then Trump was asked about how he felt about it, and he says, well, something along the line of, maybe he ought to pardon the January 6th rioters too. Like, oh, like that even has anything to, equates in any level with Hunter Biden. Two different fucking things here that got these people in prison, and one of these things is not like the others. And here's the thing: why was Hunter put in prison? Okay, because, for one, they said he didn't pay his taxes. When he did, he was just late on paying them, and he paid his taxes in full with the penalties and the late fees and interest that he had to owe the IRS. So he did pay his taxes, but somehow they still managed to convict him with that. Then he lied on a fucking application so he could buy a gun. Okay, which is something that most people in this country are guilty of, because, hey, with as many nutcases that are out there and as many of them with guns, they had to lie to get that gun in one form or another, all right? So it was baloney. They went after him only because his father was the president. They never did fucking locate this fucking laptop that they were saying had all kinds of incriminating shit on it, okay? That was just horse shit. And, when you have enough people behind you, as MAGA and the Republicans did, that were going after him, they can make any charge stick and put people in prison, okay? Because that's what they do. And they can also, protect people who deserve to be in prison. Like Charles Kushner, who Trump appointed to be ambassador to France. Charles Kushner, oh boy. His son, by the way, is married to Ivanka Trump. And so, hey, talk about fucking family issue here, that Trump was protecting. But Charles Kushner, why was he sent to prison? Well, he was convicted of tax evasion. Okay, witness tampering. He hired a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law, which he arranged to have recorded, and he recorded it to give to his sister. He got 2 years, and he's been disbarred in 3 states. Governor Christie had to prosecute that case. He said it was the most disgusting loathsome crimes that he ever prosecuted. And like I said, he's related through marriage to Donald Trump, and he gave Trump a lot of money in his campaign and stuff like that. But now Trump has appointed him into ambassadorship to France, which obviously we all understand the kind of man Trump is. Crimes mean nothing to this man. When MAGA goes around talking about how our country needs to follow laws and stuff, well, that they're only talking about Democrats need to follow laws. And whose laws? Their laws. Okay? Nothing about that, about, following the nation's laws. It's only the laws that they choose to impose on us, and the laws that they choose to either obey or not. And then you look at this person that Trump has picked for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, the former Fox News host. And it's there's a tinge of sadness here with this guy, because his own mother come out against him. She wrote him an email that apparently you can only read at the New York Times, because they're the ones that have it, and they're sitting on that like it's their own shit. But they're not. Other outlets have printed out excerpts of it, and it's pretty damning when you read what she had written to her son. So here I can read some of the excerpts of it here from the Daily Beast, and it's in an article here that they published on November 30th, and it's written by David Thompson, and it's entitled "Pete Hegseth's Mom Said He Abused Many Women in a Bombshell Email." Pete Hegseth's mother trashed his character in a blistering email shortly after his contentious divorce from his second wife, Samantha, the mother of 3 of his kids. Penelope Hegseth, 70 years old, wrote that President-elect Donald Trump's pick for defense secretary had been mistreating women for years. Quote, "On behalf of all the women, and I know it's many, you have abused in some way, I say, get some help and take an honest look at yourself," unquote, she wrote on April 30th, 2018. Quote, "I have no respect for any man that belittles, lies, cheats, sleeps around, and uses women for his own power and ego. You are that man, and have been for years, and as your mother, it pains me and embarrasses me to say that, but it is the sad, sad truth," unquote. The stunning email was obtained by the New York Times and published in a report on Friday night. Hegseth's mother also condemned his treatment of Samantha during their bitter divorce, writing, quote, "For you to try to label her as unstable for your own advantage is despicable and abusive. Is there any sense of decency left in you? She did not ask for or deserve any of what had come to her by your hand. Neither did Meredith," unquote, Penelope Hegseth added, referring to her son's first wife. Speaking with the Times on Friday, Penelope Hegseth said she had recanted the claims contained in the email and now regrets sending it. Quote, "It's not true, it has never been true," unquote, she said. Quote, "I know my son, he is a good father, husband," unquote. She said that publishing the contents of the first email was disgusting. Trump Communications Director Stephen Chung told the Daily Beast, quote, "The New York Times is despicable for using an out-of-context snippet of an allegedly obtained private email exchange between a mother and her son that does not accurately reflect the entirety of the conversation. In subsequent emails, Ms. Hegseth expressed regret for her emotional message and apologized," unquote. Pete Hegseth was accused of rape by a woman he met at a Republican conference in Monterey, California in 2017. He admitted to paying the woman off later to protect his hosting job at Fox News, but strenuously denied her claim, saying the encounter was consensual. Yeah, it might as well be consensual. He was never charged. His second wife filed for divorce after it emerged he had been having an affair with Fox News executive Jennifer Rochett, 39. The two have a daughter together and married in 2019 at a Trump golf course. Yeah, of course his mother's going to recant. He probably went over there and threatened her, you better recant what you, with that email or, you know, whatever. Okay, this sounds like the kind of guy that would do that. If he doesn't respect women, he obviously don't respect his mother, right? And the thing is that this is another guy that Trump wants working in Secretary of Defense. Okay, you had one for the ambassador to France, and now you got this guy for Secretary of Defense. Why is he picking these fucking oddballs, these criminals? There's only one conclusion. He knows they can't do the job he's putting them in there for because he doesn't care. He wants them to destroy these agencies that he's putting them in charge of. Okay, he's trying to destroy the country with these criminals. You know, he's creating a fucking a mafia inside the White House, which is designed to destroy the government. These people cannot help this country in any fucking way. He's got these people by the balls, so to speak, because, hey, he knows all their deep, dark, ugly secrets. And he can, you know, blackmail them whenever he feels like it to get them to do what he wants. Like I said earlier, he only wants people around him that are going to say yes sir, no sir to every fucking thing he wants. Anybody that doesn't do his bidding, he's going to expose every little nasty thing about these people, and they're going to sit in prison. Okay, and he'll come out and deny, oh, I never knew any of these things who were like this about this guy or this fellow. You know, he's just going to come out and play all innocent. You know, I didn't know he was like that. And he's going to have them put away. So what do you think this all means? It means, by default, he's going to create the dictatorial idea of how a president should be, the dictatorial idea. He's going to create it by surrounding himself with people who have no choice but to be loyal to him. That's how he's going to be a dictator. He's not going to declare a dictatorship. He's just going to appoint that in his cabinet so that he is a dictator. Anybody who does not kiss his ring will be out. Okay? In some way or another, they will vanish. And, you know, it's so... What can I say? I told you so. I told you so. You heard it here. Okay? On my program, you heard it here, MAGA. And you can't say, oh, I didn't warn you. All your protestations and all your, you know, you're wrong, you're stupid, you're ignorant, all these fucking things that you accuse me of saying, hey, it's all coming home to roost. It's, you know, you turn the page every day, something else I already said that was going to happen is happening. And this is why he's doing this stuff. He's picking these deplorable people to put in positions in his cabinet because he's going to control them. They're sitting there as tentacles attached to Donald Trump's fat ass. Okay? They are the other arms that you don't see. He's an octopus. All the arms are going to be connected to this one fucking old man's brain. And like arms attached to a body, they're only going to move when the brain tells them to. That's what he wants. Hell, that's what a business world is like, if you think about it. And this is a businessman, or, you know, we tried to be one anyway, but this is how businesses are run in the country, where you got, you know, a CEO, and everybody there only does what the CEO wants them to do, or they're fired. Well, this is the reason why you don't put businessmen in charge of government in this country, because, hey, the way they do things and the way the government's supposed to operate are two different things, okay? They are two different things. And let me tell you something else. You ever heard anybody refer to the Constitution as a living document? Probably some of you may have, some of you probably haven't, okay? President Obama called it that. And some people to this day don't understand what the hell that means. I'll tell you what that means. It means that the Constitution is not something that is set in stone. Okay, it's not set in stone. That's why it can be amended, and it's been amended many times over its 250 years of existence, and for a good reason. Because as it was written originally, there's a lot of things in there that didn't exist back then that do now. There's a lot of amendments that had to be put in the Constitution to address the changing times. As the country evolved, so did the Constitution. That's why we call it a living document, because it does not stay stagnant. It is not something set in stone. It is something that matures, it evolves over time as the country evolves. It has to. It has to. Okay? You look at other countries in the world where their version of a constitution just is something set in stone and it never evolves, and that's why we look at these other countries as backward, because they still run their nations like they're, decades, centuries behind us. They won't change. But we don't allow that to happen here. But guess what? We got a group of people in government right now, and will have in next month, people who want to go back to the days of when the Constitution was young, when it was just an infant out of the cradle. They want to take us all the way back to those days. That means a lot of people are going to experience stuff that their generation never did, and maybe even their parents' generation didn't. But we're going to go all the way back to those days as they rip apart the government with these appointments of fucking jackasses that Trump's got in there. People that are in the Supreme Court, by the way, appointed there by Trump himself, who are interested or have an interest, I guess, or maybe they're forced to basically shit all over the Constitution whenever something's brought to them, where they're going to rule on things that are unconstitutional, but say that it is constitutional, okay, only because they wear the robe. But the fact is they're only there to do exactly what Trump wants, and that's to tear apart, unfold, unbuild, right back to day one. Okay? Like Trump himself lived in those days, right? I mean, Christ, I know he's old, but he ain't that old. How the hell does he know how things were back then? Because his father probably programmed that shit into his head growing up at home, that, those were the good old days, right? And so he grew up thinking that, those kind of days were good. And maybe in the rich world, these people live in their own little bubble where they can get away with misogyny and racism like that, because who can touch them? Who can make them answer for that as being wrong, So in their view, they think the whole country should be like that. But the Constitution is a living document because it is supposed to evolve so that way our country can become the kind of nation that people 250 years ago imagined one day would be. Of course, we're not there yet. It's going to take longer than 250 years to get there, but if we keep letting people like Donald Trump get into the position of power, it's going to take longer still. And so we have to be vigilant. That means all of us all of us who are citizens in this country, all of us have a fucking duty, okay, to be vigilant about what we pick to sit in the White House. Okay? Joe Biden pardoning his son is completely acceptable in my mind, because he knows, and I know, why he was singled out for all those years they were after him, because he was the son of the president. That's the only reason. If his name was Hunter Sangreth or some other fucking name, they wouldn't have gave two shits about him not paying his taxes or lying on a form to get a gun, because everybody does it. And so for them to be so, come down so hard on Hunter Biden like they got the greatest criminal in American history is laughable. And it's political. That's what it is. And Joe Biden, okay, he said, he came to that understanding eventually and realized there's no reason why he should sit in prison for 1 second longer. Okay? He is in there not because it was the right thing to do, but it was the political thing to do. Okay? It was the political thing to do. And his son you know, has grew up a lot since all that shit happened when he was younger. And, you know, time changes people, and he's paid he paid his price, okay? He paid his taxes that he owed long, you know, way back. He paid that. And the gun thing there, I mean, he doesn't even have it anymore. He gave that gun away. I don't know where, if he sold it or whatever he did with it, but he doesn't have it. And now he probably couldn't buy another one if he tried anyway, because now the whole fucking world knows about, you know, the fact that he shouldn't have had it because he was doing drugs. But a lot of people today are glad that he did that, because it took a little victory away from MAGA. They were so hell-bent on putting him behind bars. I mean, my girlfriend's mother was always bitching about Hunter Biden, because everything that she was saying, she was getting from Fox News, okay? And it was bullshit. All of it was bullshit. But that woman you can't argue with, because she'll just as soon shoot you as look at you, okay? But the thing is that I'm glad they got him, he pardoned him, because that took that little fucking nugget they've been sitting on all this time as a victory. We took it away from them, okay? At a time when right now they're having buyer's remorse for having voted for Trump. That's like a little bit of like a strawberry on the cake that's been handed to them by their own ignorance. We put that strawberry on their cake. Now you eat the mistake you made, and here's a little strawberry on top, you know, courtesy of Hunter Biden. And so I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad he did that, because everybody that I know said he should have pardoned him long time ago. You know, there's no point in trying to hold a high ground to people who are a bunch of animals, okay? And that's what MAGA is. They're a pile of animals. These people, they trawl around in the garbage. That's what they are. They're the people that, you know, when you see them, you run over them or something like that. Okay, they're nobodies. They don't matter to this country. Or they shouldn't matter, because their ideas are flawed. They're coming out of flawed brains. These people don't understand what they do. They just do, and then they bitch. They get their way, and then they bitch. That's all they're good for, is complaining. You know? Christ, it's like having, you know, when everybody calls everybody a Karen that gets all pissy. Well, you know what? Everybody's a Karen today, because I don't know anybody who doesn't bitch and complain all the time. Everybody does that. Everybody's a Karen. But, you know, MAGA, they're all Karens under a fucking red hat. These people, they feel entitled. They feel like the world owes them a goddamn living, and they're jealous of people who do better than they do. I mean, they're Karens. That's a Karen right there. They fight with everybody. And so, like I said, I'm glad that he got pardoned, and I'm glad that MAGA is unhappy. It tickles me pink that they're so upset, and that Trump really isn't saying a whole lot more than what he said about it. And as far as January 6th people in prison go, I know that Trump will probably pardon them at some point, but you know, those people belong in prison, because what they did caused the deaths of several people on January 6th. That's, you know, murder. They deliberately killed police and all that. Okay, and, you know, going after your capital is treason. The way they did. They're traitors. You know, they are fucking traitors, all of them. You know, what are you going to do? You're going to set traitors loose in this country? Christ almighty. If they don't obey the rules, if they don't like their country, they're going to continue to misbehave like that. So the day Trump lets these people out of prison, which I probably figure will happen, these people will go out there and take their revenge out on whatever the hell's there, because they had to spend time in prison because Biden wouldn't pardon them or let them out, and he shouldn't have. Those people deserve to be where they are right now, because they are traitors to this country. All right? And, you know, we still haven't got them all yet, you know. There's still some people out there dodging police and investigators and stuff and hiding in places. Okay, well, these people are, you know, are really, you know, persona non grata here. I mean, we don't want them in this country. At least, you know, people of like minds like mine. I mean, we don't think they deserve to stay in this country because of what they did. If they hate America that much, then, hey, get the hell out of it. We will gladly tear up your citizenship, and you can freely pack your shit and pick the country of your choice, go live there. Okay? Just do it. All right, let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Shirt. Shirt. Pants, please. One day, you're gonna get caught. One day. Nice luggage.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I love the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back, everybody. So, you know, just recently, a Trump-appointed judge made a ruling that said corporate employers can make you work overtime, but they don't have to pay you for that overtime. So, you know, my question to the people that voted for him is, how is putting a lying asshole into power working for you? You know, honestly, you know, you people and your buyer's remorse, you know, it's going to be legion for how many of you people are going to be upset. You know, and, you know, I'm going to quote Eugene Victor Debs here and what he said. Quote, "In every age, it has been the tyrant, the oppressor, and the exploiter who has wrapped himself in the cloak of patriotism or religion, or both, to deceive and overawe the people," unquote. Hey, that's Trump. You know, he wrapped himself in the flag and walked around peddling a Bible with his face in it. Okay, and he's a tyrant. He's gonna be a tyrant. You know, he thought the Trump 1.0 was a bad time. Let's try Trump 2.0. He's gonna outdo himself. You watch. You know, and back in the early 90s, Noam Chomsky said, America will elect a female president after the Vatican elects a female pope. He knew then. Okay. But there's this rumor been going around, and you know, and it hasn't really, I don't know if there's any truth or much behind it, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Maybe one of you people out there can look it up online or something and find something to back up where this came from. But there's this thing going on that says that Trump had an affair with Loomer and Musk with Jenner. And the Democrats are not really touching it because, you know, they're trying to take the high ground, and plus maybe there's just, you know, no evidence to really, you know, make this rumor hit any pay dirt, you know. But I don't know. It's just something that's been going around on Instagram and other places that I have an account with. And you know, there's you know, Republicans and Democrats are you know, in the government are coming to the agreement that the FBI should be checking the backgrounds on all of Trump's nominees, and I'm surprised they're not. To be honest, I'm surprised that they would even have to come out and say this. This was published in the New York Times, and there's, you know, I think what's happening is some Republicans, not all of them, maybe not even MAGA for that matter, probably just some of what's left over of the GOP, as it used to be called. Some of them are probably very uneasy with Trump picking these lowlifes to occupy critical positions in our government. And, you know, now they're saying, well, we want FBI background checks on these people. And I'm thinking, well, I thought that was part of the, you know, kind of like, yeah, it goes with the territory. If you're going to be asked to be sitting in a seat of power, yes, we're going to investigate, make sure that you're clear and clean. You know, why don't they do that? And so, you know, for the media to have to do the background check, which is, you know, really how the email about Pete Hegseth had come out, that was written by his mother, the New York Times had gotten their hands on that. And like I said, they're using it as a way to get people to pay to get to their website so they can read that fucking email. All right, because it's their property, they bought it. And, you know, anyone else that wants it, they're going to either have to pay, or they'll only can get excerpts of it from different web pages, but they're not, you know. And so, yeah, we have to rely on the press. Well, if the press is not going to be doing their job all the time, then we can't really rely on them either. I mean, when during the campaign, you know, the media was very uncooperative, I think, in being truthful, or at least giving equal time to both, you know, the candidates, and you know, being honest about what they were doing. You know, it's just they wouldn't talk about anything that you know, Kamala Harris had planned out in her agenda, but they were very critical of her, more so than they were of Trump. They let Trump get away with all kinds of crap, and they didn't, you know. So, anyway, there's a video I want to play here that shows a crazy MAGA nut on a bus at an airport, and how Donald Trump has emboldened people like this woman here to do and say what she did. So let's go to that video here, and we'll talk on the other side.
Trump hasn't even taken office yet, and already the crazy Karens are spewing their racist diatribes against innocent U.S. citizens just going out and doing their everyday things. And should we be surprised? Who is ever going to forget this?
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Now, at the time, we all thought it was just another big lie Trump was trying to put out to his low IQ voters. But in retrospect, we can now see it was rampage signaling. It was a call to all the crazies that it's okay to go out and unleash racist diatribes at people of color, especially brown people. And that's exactly what happened to an Indian American family when they went on a trip to Cancun just last week. Watch this video of what happened on their shuttle bus getting off the airplane.
Your family is for India. You have no respect. You have no rules. You think you push everyone, push. That's what you think you are. You guys are crazy.
Indian people are crazy. You told me to have some more curry, right?
Yeah, here.
Have some more curry.
To record your tandoori.
My tandoori.
Yeah, your tandoori.
Wow.
Yeah. Want some more?
Please, by all means.
Want some more?
Sweetheart, no, you can remove her, though, for being rude and racist right now. Can you do that, or no?
It doesn't care about racist. You're racist towards me. I'm American.
So are we.
You're not American.
No? Not American?
Not originally, no. You're from...
I was born in America.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
Your passport.
Yeah, you want to see my passport? Is that okay? I gotta make you happy.
Shut up! Sure, let's go like this.
Amazing. I thought I only saw this stuff on the internet, but no. Karen's right here.
I'm angry.
This is toxic, massively toxic. Tell my kids to shut up. You got a mouth on you, sweetheart. Drink some more, sweetheart.
Please take her off the bus.
Get off the bus.
Shut up. You really want me to do this?
Yeah, get off the bus, racist.
No, I want you to. It's not right for them to say that to me.
Hey, ma'am, she's out of line.
Okay.
She's drunk. We need her off the bus. We need her off the bus. You need to get off the bus.
You need to get off the bus.
Thank God the right people are here, standing like up for us. Thank God for that. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay, so these guys, they're taking food.
Listen, she's been on the bus cussing and screaming. She started calling racist slurs to this nice family. Didn't do anything. She doesn't need to be on this bus. She needs to go on the other bus. She's making me uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable for my family. And there's small children here. She's cussing and swearing at small children. I would love her blood alcohol level taken. She's out of control. I don't want her.
So, quick update. The police are looking to arrest her. She was incredibly abusive. Her husband got in my face and all this nonsense. But United handled this like a champ, and basically is going to put her on a no-fly list. So, yep, crazy people.
And here's the important part of this video. People on the bus stood up for Pervez Tawfiq and his family. People on the bus would not put up with it. This is a white guy intervening with United employees, preventing this from being a he said, she said type of thing. Trump and his toadies are going to make it open season on people suspecting and harassing people of color. If you want to know what you can do to resist what's coming, you just saw it. Stand up for people being subjected to racist taunting and accusations. Stand up, intervene, and insist that the right thing be done. Put it in your resistance tool belt and be ready to take it out. Because you'll notice that in the end, Pervez Tawfiq said the woman's husband got in his face. That's the next step. Intervene in those situations too. Don't get pushy, don't get violent, but also don't let any racist or their allies harass anyone in your presence. That's how we resist. That's how we build a better world. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.
Yeah, pretty nasty crap, you know. And, you know, there's all kinds of videos on YouTube where you'll see people recording some crazy bitch randomly out there at stores and buses and airplanes and you name it, where people start going racist, full MAGA, I call it now. Like the guy said, you know, the only way you can beat that sort of shit is when everybody stands together to stop it. Okay? That's how you stop it. You know, if you just sit there and let it go, you know, and you don't take up for the person that's, you know, being victimized, then, you know, you're not really doing your job as an American to try to keep this country going in the right direction. We're all responsible. We're all given that unseen badge of being there to do this duty of ours to keep this country evolving. You know, if you don't like the idea of people being racist, then prove it. You know, when you hear racism, do something about it. Don't just stand there and let it go and just sit and record while it's happening. Put down the phone and go over there and get between it. Okay? That's what you do. You put a stop to it. You know, even once in a while, it happens right around here. I mean, no state is immune to that kind of behavior. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It isn't. I mean, you might find a lot of it down in the South, but every state has its own level of racism in it. Okay. And Maine has very deep pockets of racism in it, as I've noticed. A lot of these people, you know, live out in the woods, basically. I found out, you know, because hey, they know people don't like that. They know and they feel safer to be away from people. People that are like that, they live isolationist lives and stuff, are usually troubled people and troubled in many ways. And I'm not going to say they're all racist, but for whatever reason that they're staying away from large populated areas is because they're not comfortable around people for whatever reason. And in some cases, it's because of, you know, backward thinking, or, you know, maybe a psychological problem, or maybe they're a mixture of the two. I don't know. But there's a reason why these people live out in these areas like that. And I find that when, you know, if you get to know some of these people, little by little, you'll start to see layers drop, and then their real selves will start to come out. And that's how you know. You know, your state, if you think there's no racist there, you're wrong. They're there. I mean, there's no way you can hide from it. And you know, the flawed thinking about MAGA is they think that if they can get a majority of people to feel, think, and say the same thing, that makes it right. Well, it doesn't. 1 million people doing the same thing doesn't make what they're doing right if they're doing crimes. Okay? You know, mass criminals don't mean the crime is right. You know, it's just, it's how people ever come to that notion, I don't know how they got to it. I really don't. You know, if 1 million people are out there murdering individuals and and 1,000 people are not, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the 1,000 people that are not. It just means those 1,000 people know there's a law that says you're not supposed to do that, and the other people out there doing it think that it doesn't matter to them. Okay, that's on them. That's on them. That's their fucking fault. Okay, I'm not trying to excuse minority rule kind of thing, but I'm saying that because a majority of a population might be following a nutcase, doesn't mean that following that nutcase is the right thing to do. It just means that a lot of these people are doing it because they think it's right. They're doing it because they've been misled probably to think that it's right. But at the same time, they're still doing wrong. And that's why we can, you know, people like me and you know, the Democrats can safely say that MAGA is wrong. And what they did for voting for Trump, for putting him back in office, what they did was wrong. And they may not admit to it right now, but in some pockets of MAGA, they are already starting to regret it. And they're worried. They got worries now. And those worries are going to translate into some wrongs. Maybe some, you know, wrongs that break the law. But because the president's doing it, they're going to say, well, if he's doing it, then it's not a law that had to be broken. It was allowed to be broken or something. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to excuse it, like the way like what Nixon said. If the president does it, it's not a crime. Okay? Well, he's got MAGA thinking that way. If the president okays it, then it's not a wrong. It's a right. If the president started burning Jews, okay, if he does that, does that mean it's a right? You know? No. It means he's wrong, and it means he has to be punished for it. And if you want to join him in the punishment, hey, that's your right if you want to do that, but there's going to be a payback for it later on. You're going to answer for it. That's what MAGA, the January 6th rioters, found out. They thought that when Trump told them to go and storm the Capitol, okay, they went and did it, and when they were getting arrested and they were screaming, I was fighting for you, I was fighting for you. No, you weren't. You weren't fighting for anything except yourself. You were fighting because Donald Trump told you to do it. Had no big lofty reason for it. He wanted you to go in there and do what you did because that was his revenge for losing the election. Okay? He was pissed off that he lost, and now you guys gave him the means to do some kind of revenge, and at the same time he avoided accountability for it. Doesn't mean that he's innocent, doesn't mean that he did right. It just means he's dodging the justice system, and you wouldn't be doing that if you knew what you was doing was right, but he knew it wasn't. And that's why he's out there running all over the fucking place and finding ways to get away from the justice system so he doesn't have to answer for what he did. You know, to me, that's as good as admitting you're guilty. You know, I don't give a fuck about this innocent until you're proven guilty. He's already proved himself to be guilty because that wasn't the only goddamn crime he committed while he was president. He did all kinds of shit that wasn't right. Not to mention the shit he did as a private citizen. On top of that, so we know his background is as shaded as you can get. Okay, he's not a nice man. Nice men don't do things like that. Just like Pete Hegseth, he's not a nice man. His mother said that. She's recanting now because somebody threatened her, but he's not a nice man. Okay, and I knew that. From the one fucking time I saw him talking in an interview, I knew right then and there what kind of fucking guy that was. And it's not surprising, you know, that he's, you know, was involved in some shit there where, you know, sex trafficking and beating on his wife and statutory rape and all these fucking things that, you know, that are out there surrounding this guy. Okay. No, he's really a bad apple, and I got the look. I've been in the military. This guy was in the military. I seen lots of Hegseths in the military when I was in there. Okay, why women want to marry guys that are in the military, I don't know. because there are very few in there that I saw when I was in there that were worth being a husband to, okay? And the women that were in there at the time I was in, which was, you know, during the 90s, okay? Women were treated like shit in there by these same guys. They only looked at them as something to go rape, you know, on a Saturday night. And some of the women wouldn't say anything. They would walk right into the traps, and I'd find out about it later on when I'd start talking to them, and then, you know, all of a sudden they'd start confiding in me about things that happened to them. You know, I knew these things were going on, you know. And, you know, it's really, I don't know how much of it has changed, you know, and I have to think that if guys like Pete Hegseth, who might have been in there when I was in there, that he may be like, maybe what do they call it, the last of the Mohicans or something like that, you know. Maybe the guys in the military today are better than they were when I was in there. I'm hoping, okay. But you still have people out there that walk around with Trump that say women shouldn't be in the military. That's what Hegseth said. He thinks that women are hindering men's ability to defend. How? You take all the women out of the military, you're going to have a fucking problem. Okay? From what I saw back in the night, they played a crucial role in fucking how the military is working. They did a lot of the what do I call it, the secretarial, and even in the munitions area, they played a huge role. I mean, without them, we'd have been understaffed. I mean, they did as much work as the men did, and some of them even more. Okay, they were crucial operating personnel, you know, when I was in there. And so don't come and tell me that having military in there hurt the fucking system. It didn't hurt the system at all. And in fact, after, you know, I had gotten discharged, we were sending military females over into the war zones, okay? And when I go to the clinic, there are veterans there, they're female veterans who came back, you know, with issues because they were on the battlefield. They fought alongside with the men, okay? Now, I don't know beyond that, whatever else went on with them, but they were there. You don't bitch and complain about who's sitting or standing next to you with a gun when you're under fire. You thank God they're there because, hey, they're going to help you get out of this thing. You know? But, oh no, people like Hegseth, you know, they're like, oh, are you gay or are you straight? If you're gay, I don't want you around me. If you're a woman, I don't want you around me. Well, you know what? You can't pick and choose who you want fighting beside you on the battlefield, my friend. Okay? If you're all alone out there, and you're sure your goose is cooked, if they had a chopper full of women coming to your rescue, are you going to sit there and say, turn that chopper around and send them home? Fuck no. You're going to welcome the help. Okay? But I think this guy never had much impact at all or ever set foot in the battlefield, because if he did, he would know this already. I wouldn't have to say this. Okay, he would understand exactly where I'm coming from if he had set any foot in the fucking battlefield, which I don't think he did. If he had time to goof off like they said he did while he was in there, in the military, you know, and screw women right and left, and, you know, rape them probably, and you know what I'm saying? If he was able to do all that while he was in the service, then he didn't do much of any good for anybody. He's the guy that should have said, get out. You know, you're of no help to us. No. So what's he do? He gets a cushy job at Fox News where he can really run his mouth, because, hey, all nuts are welcome at Fox News. You know, that's what they open the door to the lunatics. You want a job here? You know, if you got a big mouth, we will take you. But Hegseth does not belong in the job of Secretary of Defense, because he had spent time in the military. Does not make him qualified for that job. It takes more than having spent a few years in the service, okay, to be in that position. You've got to have years, you know, of management skills and understanding the military as a whole. You know, you almost have to have been a general at some point in order to get that job. You know, because only then would that person understand the ins and outs of, you know, being a Secretary of Defense. Okay, but this guy spent years at Fox, you know, and whatever the hell else he was doing before that. Okay, none of that is needed on a fucking resume to get that job. Like I said, Trump picked him because they know, or he knows, that he can't do the job, and he doesn't care if he does it or not, because he wants it destroyed. You know, he wants that office ruined. All right, because it's his idea to just tear down the government, which, you know, he's going to try very hard to do after he's sworn in. So remember that when he's got his hand on the Bible and he's doing this, he's actually telling you what he's not going to do. Okay, he's actually betraying the oath as he's taking it. At the same, you think of that for a minute. While he's giving his oath, at the same time he's also saying he's going to break it. He's going to break his oath as president. While he's saying to everybody on camera, I'm going to take the, you know, no. He plans on breaking his oath while he's in office, because you cannot do all these things if you really intend to do your job and do it correctly. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that. It's all about him. It's all about what he wants. Okay? It's all about what he wants. And unfortunately, what he wants is not what the rest of the country wants. And whether or not MAGA realizes yet, it's not what they want either. So he's going to betray us all. Every one of us. You know, and I'm not so sure the business, you know, the top 1% of this country is going to really like having him in there either. Okay? Remember, Joe Biden, you know, we had that chips and bill that he passed in 2022 to get microchips and stuff like that, and things like factories set up in order to build that so we could start manufacturing things here at home, right? And he put up factories, I think it was in Arizona, which, you know, the Republicans, you know, they appreciated that we did that, okay? Some of them did anyway. And when, who was it there that was bitching about this? Mike Johnson. When Mike Johnson come out and said he was going to work hard with Donald Trump to tear that CHIPS Act apart, some Republicans went to him and said, no, we need that. We need that. It's helping my state. It's helping, you know, red counties and stuff. We need that. And so Mike kind of backed off from it. But, you know, Trump is on the warpath of trying to rip apart a lot of things that Biden had started, and that's one of those things. All these factories that were put up and stuff, now he wants to tear them all down. And this before, okay, or during, he wants to start a trade war. My point of view on that is this. Look, if you want to win a trade war, you have to produce as much shit as you're importing in order to survive that kind of a war, because if you're totally reliant on other countries bringing in stuff to sustain your country, the last thing you want to do is start making it impossible for these countries to keep your country alive. We don't have enough factories in America to make all the things that we're importing from China, Mexico, name whatever country. We don't have enough factories here yet to do that. You can do trade wars after you've got an infrastructure here where the country can rely on itself to supply us with the food and clothing and all of the stuff that we're getting everywhere else to live on. You know? But if you do it beforehand, before we have this, you know, this build-up to make our country strong again, you're only going to do is kill it. You're just going to kill the country. You're going to kill the economy. And that's already happening. Just by him going around saying he wants to do this, it's already starting to shake up the market. People are getting nervous. Investors are getting nervous. Other countries are getting nervous. Okay? They know what's coming. So, like I said, Trump's only agenda here, from what people can see, is he wants to destroy the country. That's it. He doesn't care about the qualifications of those people he's picking. It's up to the Democrats to make sure that, you know, he can't get a lot of these people. You know? I think for a lot of you, what I'm saying is preaching to the choir, okay? And I'm sorry if that's what it is, because, you know, you're listening to me and it's wasting time, okay? You're wasting your time if I'm preaching to the choir. But I feel like for those people who really don't get into politics as much as I do, or get into, you know, how America runs and how it should run, how it doesn't run, okay, maybe some of you people might get interested in knowing more about it if you listen to what I talk about, and might, you know, take some time to do a little extra reading, which I always encourage people to do. No, you know, never take with 100% what I'm telling you is accurate, okay? I admit sometimes, you know, I might miss the point, or I might be a little inaccurate, okay? A lot of times, you know, I read stuff to you from different websites, web pages rather, whatever, and even they may not have the whole story in its entirety, because it's, you know, news. They disseminate it as quickly as they can. They don't have, you know, the time, I guess, or the inclination to really get in depth with it. But I encourage people to read and do a little bit of extra reading about things that I talk about here. And you know, if you find out more, that's good, because hey, you're doing what you're supposed to do. And that's to be a curious citizen, curious about your government. You know, where your tax dollars are getting spent, where is it going? Is it helping where your money's going? You know, always be inquisitive about that. Just don't pay your taxes and say, okay, fuck that. You know, don't forget about it. You know where it's going, and, you know, understand why it's there, why people are getting that. But what we certainly don't want to see happen is people getting into positions of power that are taking the tax money and just getting in there and sucking that out for themselves, which is what a lot of people believe that Republicans are up to all the time. That's why they're always talking about slashing Social Security and, you know, and other programs like that, because that's really the only place left in the government where there's still money to be had. And they don't want people like you and I to have it, even while we worked for it and we paid into it as we worked. They want to take it away from us. Okay? And that would be a very bad thing to happen. And I fear that someday it probably will, if we fall asleep at the wheel and just not pay attention to what's going on. Okay? And we certainly need to raise our kids better to be more inquisitive about where they're getting their fucking news, and saying, look, you're watching Joe Rogan, but don't fucking believe everything he's telling you. Okay? Back check whatever he's doing and saying. You're going to find that a lot of shit that he's saying is just opinions coming out of his own mouth. It has no basis in fact. And you can name off other people who did exactly what he's doing now, like Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. All these people throughout the Republican Party have done that. You know, they take their opinions and magically transform that into fact. Okay? The conspiracy theorists, always out there, you know, trying to confuse you, cloud you, mislead you. You know, like, well, I think, you know, this is what's going on. Okay, they won't tell you that it's their own opinion that they're getting these things from, you know, or you know, that they're making these connections to. Not everything is as easy to interpret as they make it seem. Okay? But they want you to believe them, especially when it comes to, like, Alex Jones, where he tried to make people believe for years that Sandy Hooks was a big fucking TV show, was a hoax, that none of that was real. Okay? If you lived in that area, you would know it was real. It did happen. You saw the funerals. You saw the weeping parents. You saw what happened. Only those people down there can tell you for sure that it was true or not. But if you don't live in that area and you're only getting your information from Alex Jones, well, you're naturally going to think it's a big fucking hoax. But who would do something like that? Think about that too. Who would do something like that if it's you're so easily able to find out just going there and you would know that it didn't happen. Where did all the kids go if it was a hoax? You know, there's a lot of things you'd have to say happened that would make the whole basis of the hoax theory sound ludicrous if you actually did any critical thinking about it. You know? But, you know, the thing is that people have taken the word conspiracy and they made it into a negative. There are justifiable conspiracies out there that have yet to be answered. You know, like JFK's assassination for one, 9/11, another one. Okay, there are a lot of question marks about those two incidents right there that would give people pause to think that something nefarious might have been going on at the time. Something nefarious. And that would be cause to think that there is a conspiracy. But to say that something like a mass school shooting, when it's easily verifiable that these people were shot and killed, and, you know, these kids, okay, that's something that's, you would call that a conspiracy. No, that's not a conspiracy. That's a fantasy. Okay, that's a story that somebody told you and you believed it without checking out the facts. That's not a conspiracy. What happened there happened in reality. You might not want to believe it because it was such a barbaristic thing that happened, but it happened. Okay, it happened. You know, so people need to really stop, you know, and get their information from some good places and not from people who are on there with their big fucking name plastered in the background behind their head. Don't cry. You know, you need somebody without an ego like that. Somebody who knows that you can trust, that's not going to steer you wrong. He ain't looking for ratings. He's not looking for your donations. Okay, you want somebody like that. That's what you want to listen to. That's who you need to listen to. All right, so that's it for today. Hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So please subscribe, comment, and share. And keep your ears open for any health-related issues. And treat each other good out there, and especially this time of the year. I will talk to you again later, so take care, everybody. Bye-bye.